How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I'm the DM as always, and today I want to talk about Ubisoft because I was scrolling Twitter last night and I saw this from Pirate Nation. Um, and the first thing I saw was this right here. Okay. Ubisoft wants gamers to destroy all copies of a game once it goes offline. Now, it's no secret games preservation lately, especially, has been at the forefront of everyone's mind when it comes to video games. Um, and this is a direct response to the Stop Killing Games initiative. They're trying to sort of get ahead of the ball game and be like, "Oh, look, it's an end user license agreement." Um, But the thing is I don't think this is even legally enforceable. And we'll get to that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the fact that not there, we'll get to that in a second. Over here, this is the article in question, right? Um, if we scroll down just a little bit, we can see that the story highlight says that Ubisoft has updated to EULA, its end user license agreement, to avoid potential legal issues by discontinuing support for its games. Um, and down here, it talks about how they've basically hit rock bottom and they keep going down. Um, and then right here, it talks about the updated EULA. Now, I don't believe anything I just see on the internet, right? So I went to the end user license agreement on Ubisoft's website. And down here, number 8, for termination. It says that the EULA is effective from the earlier of the date you purchase, download, or use the products, basically, until terminated according to its terms. So basically, as soon as you accept the EULA, it just applies. And this, from what I understand from the wording, they're trying to make it retroactive so that any game that that they own or any product that they own will have this applied to it. It says you and Ubisoft or its licensors may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason, right? And at first you might be like, oh, well, that sounds pretty standard. It gets worse. Uh, Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon A, notice to you, or B, termination of your Ubisoft account, if any, or C, at any time of Ubisoft's decision to discontinue offering and or supporting the product. So what this is saying is that they might notify you of the termination, or they might simply terminate your account or just simply decide to stop supporting the product. And if they stop supporting the product, then this EULA is terminated and you are contractually bound to it, right? And then it goes on to say that this EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions of this EULA, so basically at all. Uh, and upon termination, for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. Check it out in the link down below. I'm even going to try, you know what? Hang on. We're going to come over here to the Internet Archive. And let's see, will it let me save it? There's been some issues with this lately. Uh, where it just doesn't save, but we'll see. Ah, wonderful. So I'll have a link down to the Internet Archive backup as well, just in case they try to change this and be like, "Oh, well, we didn't, we never said that." Anyways, while this is saving, so yeah, I don't think this is legally enforceable, and now we're going to get into the why I don't think that. So over here on the Cornell Law School, okay, because I'm not a lawyer. A full disclaimer, shocker, surprise, I know. Um, but right here, USC subsection 2-302, unconscionable contract or clause. Okay. So it says if the court, as a matter of law, finds the contract of any clause of the contract to be unconscionable at the time it was made, the court may refuse to enforce the contract, or it may enforce the remainder of the contract without the unconscionable clause, or it may so limit the application of any unconscionable clause as to avoid an unconscionable result. 2. When it is claimed or appears to the court that the contract or any clause thereof may be unconscionable, the party shall be afforded a reasonable opportunity to present evidence as to its commercial setting, purpose, and effect to aid the court in making the determination. So, what this is saying is that if a clause in a contract is deemed unconscionable, that is to say that the requirements of it are beyond reasonable, the court may find that the contract cannot be enforced with that term, right? It may enforce the contract, but that clause will be basically forced out of it, right? So this requirement, at least in my eyes, is simply unconscionable. Now, there is a court case which I am 100% positive Ubisoft, if they're taking a court of this, will try to cite, and that's this one. Okay, it's Werner v. Autodesk. Okay, and in this, hang on, let me get some highlights that way I can show you easier. Now, I could very well be misreading this. I don't know. I'll have the link down in the description. Y'all can tell me what you think. But right here, now granted, this court case was about Werner selling copies that he had purchased of the game. So it's not exactly a one-to-one to this to this. However, right here on page 18, it says that thus, because Autodesk reserved title to release 14 copies and impose significant transfer and use restrictions, we conclude that its customers are licensees of their copies of release 14 rather than owners, right? So right here, so basically what this is all saying is that because Autodesk's EULA, which also stated something similar to this right here, where upon termination for any reason, you must destroy all copies. The court case basically said that the people who bought the Autodesk copies, right? They are licensees. They do not own their copy, right? And as a result, the court ruled that Autodesk can force you to destroy your copies, right? Um, Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go and try and read through all this and cite a whole bunch of shit that I don't have any actual knowledge of, right? What I will cite is this right here, right? Is the unconscionability contract or clause. Um, and I believe that because in any game, I'll even pull up my Steam real quick, and I'll just go to any Ubisoft game, right? So if we come over here to store and we just type in Ubisoft, I'm sure we can probably find, right? So if you were to buy, I'm not going to click that. We all know what that game is and it's shit. So let's say you were to buy this game right here, Prince of Persia Lost Crown, right? If you add this to your cart, now obviously I'm not going to actually buy this, but if you add this to your cart, right? And then you continue to payment, you're purchasing this. You're not renting it, right? You're not uh you're not renting it. You're not licensing it, right? You're purchasing this game. And as a result, it is very easy to argue that at the point of sale, everyone is being led to believe that they are purchasing this game, right? That is why I do not believe this contract, this clause in the contract will be legally enforceable, and I guarantee you it's going to be challenged in court, 100%. Now, I'm never buying an Ubisoft game ever again, so this will never apply to me. However, In light of the Stop Killing Games initiative reaching, I think it was last I checked, 1.25 million signatures. Yeah, if you go over to it, it's the EU initiative is currently sitting at almost 1.3 million signatures. Like this is insane. And if you are an EU citizen, you do not have to be living in the EU. You just have to be an EU citizen. If you are an EU citizen, go and sign this. Link down in the description. Um, and there's another one. There's a UK petition as well, right over here. Well, I can't actually hang on. Yeah, so right here, so this one is at almost 200,000 signatures, almost double it. And again, if you are a UK citizen, I believe you can go and sign this. I believe you do not have to, or I do not believe you have to be living in the UK in order to sign this. You just have to be a UK citizen. So if you are an EU or UK citizen, or if you are both, go and sign these both. Just because they've hit them, there's going to be fraudulent signatures, and those are going to be pulled out of the signature pool. It doesn't negate the petition or initiative. It will remove the fraudulent signatures. And if it is below the threshold, it won't be considered. But if it is above the threshold, then they have to, right? And currently, as of recording, it's only the 8th. We have until the end of the month, the end of July, in order to get as many signatures on this as possible. So go and sign if you are legally allowed to. If you are not, then what you can do is you can share these links around. You can tell people about it and whatnot. Just do not try and sign it. Your vote will not count. Um, but before I close off the video, I also want to talk about this right here, which is Ubisoft may modify the product for any reason, blah, 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 blah. If we go over here and we type modify, right? So right here, Ubisoft reserves the right in its sole and absolute discretion to revise, update, change, modify, or add to, supplement, or delete certain terms in the EULA for security, legal, best practice, or regulatory reasons. Such changes will be effective with or as applicable without prior notice to you. Now, this is the most important part, is as applicable without prior notice. So if they can get away with not telling you about it, they're going to. You can review the most current version of the EULA by clicking the EULA link, blah, 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 blah. You are responsible for checking this EULA for periodically for changes. If any future changes to the EULA are unacceptable to use or cause you to no longer be in agreement or compliance with this EULA, you may terminate this EULA in accordance to Section 8 termination and must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product. So basically they're saying if you don't like it, then you still have to destroy all products and uninstall immediately, right? That's what this says, is like, even if right now at its current iteration, you accepted the EULA before its change, and now they changed it to this, you must still destroy all products and uninstall all products. Your continued use of the product following any revision of this EULA constitutes your complete and irrevocable acceptance of any and all such changes. So that means that if you're not aware of this because they didn't tell you, because, oh, they're not required to, right? Then you are automatically considered to have accepted it. And as a result, you can no longer revoke your acceptance. End of story, right? What the fuck? Right? So that means at this point, you're not allowed to revoke your acceptance. Ubisoft may modify the product for any reason and without any specific reason at any time and at its entire discretion, in particular for technical reasons such as updates, maintenance, operations, and or resets to improve and or optimize the product. Now, what does optimize mean? They don't specify, but we can all pretty much guess, right? You agree that the product may install or download the modifications automatically. You agree that Ubisoft may stop to support previous versions of the product upon availability of an updated version. Ubisoft's channel partners and associated service providers shall have no obligation to furnish any maintenance or customer support with respect to the product. Ubisoft also reserves the right to amend rules of conduct set out in Section 1 to place limits on the use of the product. So basically, what this is saying is that they can, at any point in time, simply stop any and all support for the product, and you have absolutely no recourse. You're not even allowed to go into arbitration. You're not allowed. Um, this these two clauses right here are, in my opinion, completely unenforceable. They are unconscionable in the way they are written. Courts may deem otherwise. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. This is just what I think, right? That these are simply unconscionable and unenforceable, particularly this right here, right? Requiring you to destroy all products and everything. So that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for coming. If you liked the videos, hit like, subscribe. If you didn't like the video, hit dislike, leave a comment, let me know why, and I will see you all later.